Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Amused Jester. My name is Junior. We are switching gears and going to be reviewing Transformers 2D series Megatron from the Transformers the movie. And not necessarily true, but we'll talk about it later on. There's the front. Here's the back. I guess it's a wraparound. And here's the front. The back. That was the side figure. The alternate mode, the way he displays his extra weapons. I don't know if this is actually from the movie. I can see where the scene could be, but I'm not entirely sure. Then here's the side and the top. Let me open it up and we'll look at a transforming toy. Alright, so that's everything that comes with the figure itself, the cannon, something in the baggie over here, and the instruction. And this, like I said, this literally just came off the packaging, as I still have some rubber band thingy here. Okay, and let's rip this apart. Yeah, I hate it when they do this. I want to see it, just in case. Like, there could have been something in there that I ripped or cut into, but yes, it would have been my fault for just blindly cutting into it, but still. Alright, so instructions. We're not going to read the instructions because I don't read instructions. I follow MGO 316 or 315 or TM Reviews or Deluxe Baldwin or Prime versus Prime. Those are my go-to guys in terms of learning transformations. So this is basically the tip of the gun that's not the gun. Here is a miniature version of the gun that's not a gun. And he will focus a little bit on this, and you can see it does have a Decepticon symbol, and Megatron can hold this weapon, who is not Megatron. Here's the sword. It's just all painted, but it's painted nicely with violet and purple and bare plastic. Here's the gun cannon that will sit on his arm. It's got some sort of hinge over here. I don't know what for, since I haven't transformed it. It does have something going on over here that I don't know what for, since I've never transformed it or haven't really looked at the review. And then the barrel is capped. Now it's time to look at Megatron in detail. Ooh. Sorry if that's a little bit too bright. I'm using my camera flash. It's really up close. But man, this is, I can't believe we finally getting a Megatron in retail release that's not masterpiece and have this attention to detail. Yes, it's bare plastic. A lot of it is bare plastic, but from what I'm seeing, he's got some, peg holes and stuff like that. From what I'm seeing though, it's just kind of amazing detail here in the back. That's not in the original tank threads and everything. There's no reds here or anything like that. So let's talk about the articulation of this guy. Head can go up a little bit, nothing going down. The shoulder, no ratchets, but goes all around, goes off to the side over here. You can see some waffling going on in the bicep area. The bicep does turn. As you can see, the elbow is slightly over 90 degrees, so that's good. The wrist turns, but nothing in terms of left to right, up and down, more like a wiggle. As you can see, the fingers are actually articulated. One for the pointing, another one that connects these three here, and then another one at the base, and another one at the base here. The thumb does not have any articulation, and the way you would hold this or use it, interesting. Resistance going on here. As you can see, it doesn't really hold it well, so it's possible that I did not attach that completely well. I feel like it should snap into the groove there. Now it's there. Well, that's you don't even need this because it's just snapped into the shape of between the thumb and the palm of the figure. Yeah, see, now it's actually, I'm pulling it out. It's actually pulling it out at the wrist. Yeah, that is a strong connection. Ball joint, as you can see, which is not supposed to come off. That is gonna be a problem. Okay. Waist articulation sideways, nothing. Just a horizontal sideways, nothing sideways like that, and nothing forward. Hip to leg articulation forward up to 90. As you can see, this piece moves backwards. Forward sideways 90, backwards 90. You get a waffle covering over here. The knees at 90. No articulation on the upper leg nor on the knees. The ankle, I don't think of that as an articulation. Oh, there it is. Moving forward is well done. Moving backward, interesting how it's designed that way. And you do have ankle rocker in a way. Yep, you do. Very interesting how they designed that. This whole hinge is making it more range in movement just because of that. And of course, we're going to attach this way. Now I realize why they see this as too short, because like this should be about the same length as this one. But yeah, I mean, like, still though, what we're getting for a mainline Megatron, that's amazing. The head is, look at that. They just, yeah, really well done in terms of design. Alright, so now let's get on to the somewhat disappointing aspect of this toy. Alright, so as I've mentioned, there are better Transformer reviewers out there. MGO316, TM Reviews, Deluxe Baldwin, Prime vs. Prime, who does a much better job in transforming videos. But I'll do it. I'm not sure. I'll do it. I'll record it, and we'll see how long the review is going. So let's remove that. And by the way, I didn't show how this thing attaches in the back. Basically, just attach it here and then put this up to complete the look of Megatron as we know him from the movie or from the cartoon. So anyway, let's put that, and we'll start off with the wrist. Open it up. Look at the detail that's going on in the wrist as well, so that's pretty cool. And when you ball this up, make sure you ball up the knuckles and fingers kind of within the scope of the thumb, and just flip it around. And oh, you're supposed to twist this, which is kind of really interesting that you have to do that, and that they even incorporate that into this whole thing. And then this one faces inward towards the inside, and just do it again on the other hand. Alright, we're going to continue in with the shoulder assembly over here. Just rock it forward like a butterfly, like so. And then what's going to happen is there's a mechanism here that you just pull it out, rock it out. Oh, that is stiffer than I expected. Not the best feeling one, as you can see. If you look at the articulation, it's bent here and bent here, so that is really not the best feeling one, because I'm kind of forcing it in. So that looks like that now, and we're gonna pull this out anyway. And then this one, the back basically flips up like so, and then I believe you move like that. So now the whole unit looks like this. Now we're going to concentrate on the ab area. Just unclip the chest part here. That basically unclips the abdomen area, which you'll bring down. Then you bring this down, and then you tuck his head in. Okay, and then you're gonna attach this tab to this hole over here, and then pull this out like that. And then there's a piece over here that you want to bring out if you can. Then you can see there's a kind of like a connector here and here, so you want this to snap flat like that. And this one got untapped, so just make sure that's connected there. And then now we're going to rotate the hips so that it's facing this way. And now that we've rotated the hips, we're going to bring out the hip skirt over here. And again, another interesting thing where you actually have to turn it forward. Now we're going to bring this whole thing up so that this tab connects to that connector over there. Connected nice. And nice. And sit right there. Alright, now this thing has always been loose, but you need to use that anyway. And see the small tab over here, right here? That's gonna go into this part. So just wanna swing this around, make sure you're kind of straightening this out. I think, see, it's got a hinge here and a hinge there, so see how it plays. Make sure you straighten that out. And where you go, that one to that one. It's really hard to see on camera because I can't even see it in real life, for crying out loud. Okay. That is really hard to see. There. That's connected. Make sure that's flat. And now what we have is something like this. Okay, just to let you know, I'm using the guidance of Emgo's Wisdom. He's always been my favorite Transformer reviewer. So you're just rotating this over here. And I believe you're supposed to rotate this as well. And what you want to do is see this tab over here, that needs to go on the top. What I mean by that is utilizing this, you want this to go like something like that. For now, do it on the other side as well. And what you want to do is that this is going to attach to that, and that's going to attach to this. So now that you've done that, just squeeze it in. I think that would work. Or do that. Now it needs to tab in together. That's pretty good. Whew. Now this is going to be a complicated part, and I hope I remember enough of it. So just making sure that everything's lined up. So we'll do with this side. Open this up and open this part up. That's going to allow you to move this out like so. And then we're going to look at the inside part here. We're going to open this part up, because apparently this is supposed to go in here. How does this go? So I think we're supposed to bring this here and then make this flat, and then you can close this up so that it's just one piece over there. Then you want to go to the front part over here, open it as well, and do something similar to this panel over here. Just bring that out and then close this back in. Make sure it's all tabbed in. And with that I mean there is a tab here that goes into the slot here. And then you bring this in. It's on a double hinge, as you can see. So you should be able to bring this in and line it up so that it lines up well and finishes off the side of the tank, not a gun. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side if I remember how to do it. Just bring this out over there and bring this, open this up here, open that here, open the inside, switch it out to that, open that, close this in, okay, and then on the other side do the same thing, open that, close this in, hinge this around a little bit, there you go. This is not properly hinged yet, there you go. Alright, so doing a recap of how it looks right now, that's the way it looks. Doesn't have to be. But we're basically going to swing this open here to connect to this part. There's a bunch of multiple connections in this one, I think. Like this one, I think goes to that one. This one probably to this one. And then maybe this one connects to that. We'll see what's going to happen. Connecting that to that. Okay, I'm not pushing anything yet, just making sure everything's kind of lining up. From what I can see, that looks kind of good. Then the only thing not connected is this part. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. So I'm connecting this part first, and then this part, and then that part. Yeah. And everything's all nice and tight. Alright, so this part's another confusing part over here. We're going to concentrate on this connection over here because what we want to do is attach it like that and expose this notch over here, which is supposed to tab into something down here. I think the best way is to just lift this a little bit, so that, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this a little bit, and then we'll see. So you're supposed to, yep, like that, and push it there. There you go. I'm gonna do this other side before I connect that one. That's kind of messed up. So this one is gonna go forward. Like this whole thing is gonna move forward like that. And then when you're doing that, just lift this so it's out of the way, flatten this part out, and then try to connect where this thing was supposed to be. There. I think that's the way it should be. It's kind of hard to explain it, how it's supposed to line up, but if you look, it's almost evened out. I think that's the way it's supposed to be done. And then this part, I think this connects something here. Oh, my mistake. So this you just bring it around here and then swing this out here. So the connection is actually this peg to this hole. Connect that like so for now. That one. Now you can bring it down here. Once you do, then you can concentrate on this one. Just bring it this part. Of the toe, like so. There's nothing to tab into, and that's basically it for that part. Alright, so the main tank part is done. We're gonna go over here, and now I find out why there's a opening here, but this is on a double hinge again, which is kind of interesting that they're putting all these double hinges here, and just that, and I mean, like in the old days it would just like swing out, and I don't know where it would have gone, but yeah, quite surprised. The complexity of the engineering going on here. So yeah, I just put it in there, make sure it's tightened a little bit, and then this basically notches into this part over here, and this doesn't go anywhere, so don't deal with that. Just attach that here, and what's basically going to hold this together is there is a notch here that goes into the peg hole, and that's going to secure the barrel into the actual top of the gun. And that's basically it, Megatron as a tank. Now in terms of movement, it does have these wheels here, so it does move. The turrets does go forward, so that's good. That's what didn't have before. It's kind of weird that if you want him angling up a little bit, it doesn't allow for that, and this is not gonna move. So you have a little bit of movement on the barrel of the gun or the cannon. Moves forward, or moves around like that in a crazy way. And that's Megatron as a tank. An empty spot here, kind of like I'm okay with this one and this one. So obviously they concentrated on the robot mode look, and with all the design, I don't really mind that this is just static and it's not moving. I don't mind this. If how do I we're going to evaluate this as a tank, because that's where it fails, honestly. So first off, let me start off by saying the robot mode is beautiful. There are some compromises because of the design of the tank, but as it is, the movement, articulation, it's top notch. I cannot fault it for that. This is $59.80, taxes and everything from Amazon. So I thought it was going to be $80 or so, but it's not. So $60 kind of softens the blow. Where it fails is in the tank mode. First off, it's not a gun. I do remember a studio series in the Transformers movie, he is a gun, not a tank. And yes, I do know about the restriction of anything entering the United States looking like a gun, and everything. So yes, let's compromise and let him turn into a tank, right? With all the complexity of the design, with double hinges and everything, that really amazes me. This is how it turns out as a tank, is disappointing. Disappointing that I would have preferred that you've already got all these hinges and everything. Why don't you make a hinge here so that this one at least goes up? I already don't like the design of this thing. It doesn't look like a real tank. It looks like a Cybertronian tank. And that doesn't fit the Transformers movie, because they're supposed to be Earth vehicles. So if you're going to transform him into a tank, make him look like a realistic tank. And I feel like they could have done that with all the stuff that they've accomplished in terms of how everything moves around, how everything switches, moves, and twists around and everything. Then you have this empty spot here. Like, the front looks good. It's just this one doesn't look good. The side, this part looks good. This one's kind of acceptable. This one's acceptable. This is not acceptable. I don't care about this one. I almost don't care about this one. Honestly, this is hollow. This still looks good. Honestly, what really bugs me is the fact that this thing couldn't be fixed. I mean, you're already playing loosely with the cannon. No pun intended. Why don't you create a shield that basically houses this part on? Especially since you have these two ports here. Like something here that could go in there that acts as a shield and creates this much more modernized looking tank. And then this one, I feel like you could have made this fatter, turned this kind of longer, and then hinge it up here. I feel like there's a better solution for this one. At least top part, front part, back part would have looked nice. This would have looked ugly still, but you know what I mean. Anyway, value system. It is $60. I'm not likely going to display this in tank mode. I still remember in Megatron in the movie is a gun. I know it's not really. He should. I mean, he works better as a tank anyway, combating Prime. I can get behind that. It just needs to be better as a tank. Should I evaluate this separately as a robot mode and as a tank mode? Because the robot does very, very well. I feel like the robot mode for $60 is around $12, while in tank mode for $60 it's about an 8. Huh. Which I suppose if we were to meet in the middle, the toy all around is a 10. But I don't want to do that though. The robot mode is so good. I feel like I'm going to evaluate this separately. Robot mode is value 12, base price 10, equaling to $60. Really, really well done. Tank mode, I'm going to give it a value of 7 for $60. And I am going to keep them separate in terms of valuing it. It just is disappointing in tank mode. And I feel like they could have done so much better if they had just gone just an extra push. Anyway, that's it for my review of the studio series Transformers the movie Megatron. I am glad that we finally get a Megatron properly scaled to the studio series Optimus Prime that we got from the movie. I'm never gonna see this in tank mode again. I'm just gonna display it as the robot mode of Megatron. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you guys next on my next review. Bye.